Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, I'll be showing off Startrack, a community-created leaderboard for Nitrotype. This is Startrack, created in January of 2025 by Starlight, the captain of Team Beehive, a notable Nitrotype team. It was originally created to fill the vacuum that was created when NT Comps was discontinued in December of 2024. Throughout 2025, Startrack has seen many developments. It was originally created so team comps could host comps within their teams, as well as cross-team comps with other teams. Later on, due to popular demand, a leaderboard for individual players and teams was created, along with a flagging system to prevent botters from taking up spots on the leaderboard. There was a lot of other things implemented throughout 2025, as well as such an activity page, as well as different ways to select squads on team comps, as well as a wall of fame and ban list. All of these will be covered during the video. Individual leaderboards. This is the main attraction of Startrack, the individual leaderboards. It is the only current active community-based leaderboards at the moment. As you can see here, there are multiple leaderboards to choose from. First is the 24-hour leaderboard, which shows all the players tracked and their placements and points for the last 24 hours. It displays their rank, display name, username, and team, and that are currently being tracked on, or were last seen to be tracked on. You can also sort the leaderboard by races, accuracy, words per minute, points, and points per race. You can also do a search for players that are on a certain team on the 24-hour where they would be ranked on the 24-hour leaderboards, as you can see here. This system for the 24-hour leaderboards is the same across all the other leaderboards. Here you can see the season leaderboards, which displays the racers ranked for the season that is currently going on in Nitrotype. You can also select to see what the racers' placements were on the previous season or event that have been cataloged on Startrack. Keep in mind, not all the data reflects the true activity, only the activity tracked by racers from the points in time that they were on teams that were tracked by Startrack at the time. As you can see here, this is the last season, season 58, and you can see all the other events that have been tracked on Startrack right here. 60-minute leaderboard. This tracks racers based off the last 6 batches done in the last 60 minutes. I'll go more into depth about batches later, but just know that Startrack updates in 10-minute intervals. This leaderboard shows the placement of racers for the last 7 days. My friend Super Julesy made an extension which brings back last 7-day badges for teams and racers, and it's based off of this 7-day leaderboard. It updates once a day. The link to this extension will be in the description. Daily leaderboards are similar to the 24-hour leaderboard, except it resets at 11 p.m. Central Time every single day. This is similar to how daily races are cataloged on Nitrotype, just at a different time for resetting. Weekly leaderboards, similar to daily leaderboards, are 7-day stretches that reset at 11 p.m. Central Time on Friday, every Friday. You can also view the last 7 weeks that have been cataloged. And for the daily ones, you can also select the last 7 that are also on here. Monthly leaderboards show how racers stack up to each other in the current month. Every month resets on the last day of the corresponding month at 11 p.m. Central Time. You can also view the last 6 months that have been cataloged. Now this one is the custom leaderboard. What this leaderboard allows you to do is you can select 2 different dates, a start point and an end point, to show how racers have stacked up in a certain selected periods of time. This leaderboard takes a while to update if you are using it too quickly, so take your time using it, as if you use it too fast, it will fail to load. See here, the dates in between. Now, the team leaderboards are exactly the same as the individual leaderboards, except it's for teams. Like the individual leaderboards, teams are only counted once they start getting tracked by Startrack. In order for a team to get tracked, the captain or co-captain of a team must contact the owner Starlight directly on Discord to get it added. Alternatively, they could also fill in a team application request on the Startrack Discord server. I will get to the Discord process of Startrack later in the video. If a team is removed from Startrack for either A, being inactive, or B, the captain requests the team to be removed from Startrack, the team will not be deleted off of Startrack. The data will just simply stop being saved from that point onward. The Wall of Fame. This leaderboard replicates the Wall of Fame from the old Nitrotype leaderboards. This one shows the top 100 racers that are currently being tracked by Startrack in terms of race count. The limitation here is that it only includes racers that are currently being tracked on Startrack. The one below this shows the top 100 most team races for individual racers on Startrack. This one shows the top 100 highest words per minute of players currently being tracked, as you can see here. And this one shows the top 100 highest words per minute, or the other way around. Well, this one's the average. Highest average words per minute. Similar to the other leaderboards, you can select a team to specify where all the members of the team place in the top 100. So let's go to this one, for example. You can see here. Activity. This leaderboard shows off the top 50 racers for the last 48 hours and displays each hour of their races. You can select on a user to isolate their data from the rest. The more racers you click, the more will be shown, and simply click the racer again to remove them from being isolated. You can also choose to only look at half of all the top 50 of the top racers by clicking the Show More button. As you can see here. Let me just undo this. You can see here. It shows more, show less. Bans. This shows players that have been banned from Nitrotype while being tracked on Startrack. It shows when they were banned, what their average and top words per minute were, as well as their final lifetime race count and team race count on the team they were on when they were banned. Some of the timestamps are accurate, as some of the timestamps only indicate when that banned racer's team joined Startrack. Flags. Now, you may have noticed as I was going through the leaderboards and Wall of Fame that there was this little icon saying flagged racers, or flagged teams in this case. If you click that, all the botters that have been flagged by Startrack are shown, and it shows how they compare to the legit racers. So you can see here, go to flagged racers, and it'll show all the, you see this icon right here, it shows if they're botting or not. And if you go to team leaderboards, it'll show that it'll add the flagged points of the people that are botting on those teams. Now, for the activity log, as you can see here, and the Wall of Fame, the top 100 and top 50 racers respectively account for those flagged racers as well, when displaying the top 50 and top 100. I'll go further into the video. I'll talk about how the anti-cheat system works. But here, let me show you real quick. You can see here, there's not 50 here, but once you push flagged racers, it'll show all 50. And you can see like a lot of them are botting. And then flagged racers, it only shows half of them here. And then for Wall of Fame, if you look here, flagged racers, you can see like this guy's flagged because he's banned. This person was botting. And same goes for some of these ones, as you can see here. Now for racers, there's a few ways you can look at their information. If you push to their display name, it simply takes you to their Nitrotype profile, as you can see here. Now, if you click their username, for example, it'll take you to all the data collected on the racer for the duration they have been on a track team on Startrack. If you go to the Racers tab, you can also go to the Racers tab and simply put in their username like this. Once on the racer page, it will display a bunch of data. The first set of data is the username, user ID, team tag of the team they were on last when the last batch was recorded, their role on the team, their lifetime race count, their team races, average words per minute, top words per minute, and when they joined that team. All are up to date for when their last batch was recorded. first thing you can see here is the batch inspector, which shows a distribution chart of all of their batches with how many races they did per batch, their average work per minute, their average accuracy for those batches, as you can see here. You can also go down here and you can see the exact numbers for each batch. Each batch lasts 10 minutes. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see the arrows right here that shows all the rest of their batch information. Now next to batch inspector, you can see daily races, which shows how many races they've done, and it's accurate to whatever time zone you're in. So this is up to like midnight for me, for their daily races. Now you can see there might be a discrepancy between lifetime and team races. Now if lifetime races are significantly higher than team races, that's likely because it's updating the lifetime race count while they're not on a team, or the duration that they weren't on a team. Here, I can show you an example real quick. Now this one, for example, see, they were on a team for like a good 2 weeks. So when they went back onto a team, it updated their lifetime race count, so it showed that they did this many races once they rejoined, which obviously isn't accurate, but it shows how many races they did in that time frame. Now these races aren't tracked on Startrack, so this is the only information that's given. But when they're not on a team, no other information is able to be collected from normal tracker. Now, if you, for example, the team races is higher than the lifetime, that could be because of ghost races, which is a bug which is caused by fast auto reloads, because basically the bug involves team races and session races and race logs updating, while the lifetime race count doesn't update because the reload time is too quickly. But yeah, this is usually caused from quick reload times. Let me show you an example. You can see here, this user used a pretty fast auto reloader, so there were times when the team races showed a lot more than the lifetime races when they were on a team. And this only shows the last 30 days. Well, not the last 30 days, just the last 30 days that were tracked. If a user does 0 races on that day, it will not be shown here. It only showed just 30 at most, pretty much. Now next to here is weekly races, which is very similar to the daily race tab. It is also dependent on the time zone. And as you can see here, I believe it also shows the last 30 weeks that have been tracked. If they don't do a race in that week, it won't be counted pretty much. As you can see here, the batch system. Now, the batch system isn't as complicated as it may seem. Now, Startrack scrapes data off team APIs at around 13 API checks per minute, as that seems to be the limit for Nitrotype before it stops sending API responses. This is why there is a limited amount of teams being tracked by Startrack. The team API updates every 10 minutes, which is why the batches are also 10 minutes long. Every 10-minute interval the team API updates, the batches get updated a minute afterwards to prevent overflow. Due to the number of teams, there is an update priority system in place. This means that teams that have joined Startrack earlier will have their batches update much quicker than those of teams that joined later. Take for example SSH, whose batches update around 1 to 2 minutes after the team API is updated on Nitrotype. This is because SSH was one of the first teams to be tracked on Startrack. As you can see here, it's around 9:27, so this one already updated, but now let's take KU for example, which got added months and months later. It takes around 7 to 8 minutes after the team API updates for the batches to update on the players for that team. Here, let me show you real quick. Alright, it looks like this one already updated before I could show you, but yeah, pretty much, like, let's say the API comes in at 9:30, right? Because it does it every 10-minute intervals. This racer would get it updated after around 2 minutes. Now, this person on KU would have it update around after 7 minutes, pretty much, because KU joined Startrack much later than SSH. Now, this does not change the accuracy of the data, as all the data is collected at the exact same time when the team API updates every 10 minutes. So the batches are all the same, all the data is accurate, it just takes time to show it all, pretty much. And basically what each batch does is it takes the race amount from the previous team API update and the current one to find out how many races were done in those 10 minutes as well as the average word per minute, accuracy, and points, as you can see from the batch inspector on racer tabs. You can see here. This is the Startrack Discord server. Its main priority is to manage team requests, botters, bugs, and other things for the website, as well as community involvement, as it is the largest active leaderboard in the community at the moment. To get started, join the Discord server that is linked in the About section on the website. As you can see here, one second. You can see here, you can go to here and get to the Discord server. There. It'll load in, and then what you want to do is you want to go through the verification system. You can see here, pretty simple stuff. You're getting thrown into the lobby, do all this, and support will get you verified. And then once you're in, you have access to the chat. You can show off your achievements. You can recruit people to your other team, and just chatting people in the community in general. However, the main purpose, as I said before, is to people ask general questions about the site, report any players who they think may be botting, and for captain and officers, ask if their team can be added to Startrack, as you can see here. Once a team is added, the captain or officer who requested this will be given a Startrack account so they can manage their teams on the site for comps. I'll get more into that later. Each user on the Discord server is allowed 5 tickets at once to be open. They'll be unable to create more tickets until the ticket they have applied for has been closed. How this works. So like, let's say I want to ask a general question. I'll just put this. We'll create a ticket. And then once they have asked that question, they will close it or close it with reason. Simple as that. And then it's a little different when you're trying to report flag repeal, bot report. So let's say I want to report a bot. Jump to application. And basically how this works is you start application. You first put in, let's just use a random Startrack link. Here, let's just use my own real quick. Let me find it. So yeah, basically what you want to do, go through the application process. And then, pretty much how you do that. And then you'll have support. Will get you to look at they'll review your report. You can see here, deny, or they could accept, and that person, once they push accept, they'll be flagged on Startrack pretty much by Starlight. But yeah, you can do all these things right here, and that's pretty much everything about the Discord server, really. When you want to add or remove team, that is solely through Starlight. She's the only one that can grant access to that. So, support can't really do that, but all the other things, support can help you out with. So, your report, as you can see here. Now, here's the anti-cheat system. Obviously, I can't disclose much about our anti-cheat system, but I can give you some information. Our first layer of detection would be in analyzing patterns in batches, pretty much, and comparing it to human and based off other data collected from known botters. But the second layer is the more comprehensive one, and it makes it so we're very confident in our flagging abilities, is we collect data with an extension called Bot Hunter. What this does is when someone has the extension on, it collects the data from the race performed by the racer and sends it to Startrack. Every player in the race has their data collected and sent for us to see what it looks like. We then have we use AI to organize the data and format it to show us the information in an easy to digest package. This is in the form of several metrics that are scored on, based on the severity of the data found. This assigns the racer a bot score on how likely it is that they are cheating, and we determine whether those people are botting or not based on which metrics are scored to the point of being inhuman, as well as other variables. We also compare the data found to other race data we have collected, such as from trusted racers and known cheaters. If you go to any of the team leaderboards, you can click on the team and it takes you directly to the team page. You can also go to the team tab and look up the team as well. Once there, it shows all the stats of the team, such as the creation date, the captain, requirements, and the different tiers, which I'll get to in a moment. It also shows all the current members of the team along with all of their stats. Similar to leaderboards, there is an activity page which shows the most active racers for the last 24 hours of the team. At the bottom you can see the last few days and the last few weeks that have been tracked as well, as you can see here. Next to the activity tab is the tracker tab, which shows the daily races of each team member, as well as the former team members up to the last 7 days, as well as weekly races for the last team members up to the last 7 weeks, as you can see here. Next to that is the warned list, which, if the captain has set a minimum race quota, will display which team members are at risk of being kicked from the team, as you can see here. Now, this is the foundation of why Startrack was created, the team comps and event system. Now, it might be a little advanced, so I had Starlight give me a rundown on how it works. So, let me break it into segments. To get started, you first need to be a captain or officer of the team and obtain the login information from Starlight herself in order to create events which you can modify, edit, or delete, as you can see here. When Add Event is clicked, the following dialog box will pop open, and with the following options. There's a title description, so you can be clear with the comp rules, the start and end time, default sort order, and the tier mode. So we're gonna go through this process. So let's see, what do we want to name? Here, let me think about this real quick. So as you can see here, I have a title. I can edit the description. You can put in up to 10 teams, as you can see here. I'm only gonna put 2. You put the start time, the end time, and it's to your time zone. You can sort by what you want it to, the default sort column for it, and then the tier modes. Basically static. There's 3 tiers: A, B, and C, and what those tiers are like average words per minute, and they're separated into groups. Now, if you push static, what that does is it locks it at the start of the event. So whatever the averages are at the start, that's what they stick as. But dynamic means they can change depending on where the average is, like how it is. So I just push save here, and let me look real quick. Now, once the event is active, you can look at it in event viewers and go to racers. And obviously there's no racers right now, but once there's people racing, it'll show. And then once the teams are active, it'll show that as well. Here, I could show you later, but here, that's a good demonstration. There we go. You can see now that the event is active, and you have all of these. And then this is a duel, actually, because there's 2 teams. And let me explain how duels work. Duels use the tiers discussed below. Tiers A, B, and C are pitted against each other on each team. Each tier, the team that wins race count gets 3 points, the team that wins accuracy gets 1 point, and the team that wins word per minute also gets 1 point. This means there's a total of 15 points up for grabs, 5 in each tier, and the team that takes the most points will win after the comp is over. So it'll show a bunch of the results here once there is races in. This only applies to when there's 2 teams, as you can see here. If there's more than 2, there won't be a duel, obviously. And this is actually inspired from NT Comps. NT Comps had a duel system between 2 teams. You can see here, it shows you the information for that. And then there's a little more here. Let me get to that real quick. Now, the next tab next to events are squads. Basically, you can put different users into squads so they can compete against each other within the team. It's a little different from tiers because there's different criteria and different money incentive, but you can see here. And then, yeah, once they're like in squads, there should be a tracker for it. 1 second, let me find it. Okay, so now once you have squads set up, it should look like this. Now, obviously, there isn't any everybody active right now, so I'll show you. This is what squads will look like once there's actually data for it. This is what the teams tab will look like when there's events going on. And then this one, real quick. This is what duels will look like when they're active. There's data for it as well. Now, once you have an event set up, you can still edit it. As you can see here, so you can add more special requirements, for example. And then this is you can pay to play settings. So basically, if you want to give specific amounts for how much money people can win, you can do like multipliers and bonuses. You can see here. Here, let me give you a demonstration. Let's say, for example, you want a minimum races of 0. So every 100 races, there's a race increment of 100. You qualify for 100, and it's 1 million per 100 race increment. As you can see here, this is how much the most would be, and then you push save, obviously. So once you do that, you can go back to Event Viewer, and it should show all of the requirements for the event, and that's about everything. If you push this tab as well, it will show inactive racers. Obviously, all of them are inactive, but what this does is anybody that's left the team during the comp, it'll show those racers, because on default view, it won't show the people that have left. Obviously, there's no one here, but you can use that. And obviously, as you can with the other ones, you can sort them by all sorts of these criteria, just like you would in the roster tab. You can see here. And yeah, that's about it for team comps, I believe. And then obviously for the trackers, I forgot to mention, these also reset at 11 p.m. Central Time, as well for the weekly and the warn list. And I believe that's everything you need to know about Startrack. It's all the settings, all of the current up-to-date information about it, and I hope this guide is useful for anybody that has a little trouble navigating Startrack. I know I had some trouble, especially with the team comp stuff. That's a little complicated, but once you know like the 5 or 6 aspects of it, it becomes pretty easy to learn. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.